a bit of fun from the Blat Pack boys. They're always at Bulli. They're there. They've got great products. Check them out and check out this little video they've done just for our meeting this weekend.
Hi everyone, it's Archie from Blat Pack. How you going? Like you, we were hoping to be in Bulli about now, and it's really disappointing that we're not. I think the band Oasis, maybe circa 1995, probably said it best. You got to roll with it. And that's exactly what the Bulli Antique Motorcycle Weekend team have done. It's a great response by the organisers, bringing the event to us wherever we may be this weekend. So in lieu of being there, we just wanted to check in and say hey to everybody joining into the Motorcycle Weekend virtually for 2020. We had a great time last year and we met some great folk. Now this was us, all of us in 2019, having a great time. It is a great venue and it provides a great vibe to look at, talk about, and certainly in my case, to learn about some fantastic vintage and classic motorcycles. In fact, we loved it so much we made a clip about it. If you haven't already seen it and you feel like you want a little bit of a flashback, you can find it on the ACMA website or on the Blat Pack website. Now the keyed-eyed amongst you would have probably noticed we're at Wakefield Park Raceway, and we have a little bit more to say about that later, a little bit of breaking news. Now it's no denying the pandemic has been a massive black swan event, and our thoughts are with those who have suffered significant loss or hardship. We also particularly want to shout out to everyone in Victoria at the moment who have been doing it tough for the last few weeks. Hang in there. For our little part, COVID hit just as we were finishing the merchandise for the Post Classic Racing Association's annual Festival of Speed. And like everyone, it sent us and our plans for the year into a massive tailspin. However, we've remained busy and continue to offer a huge range of classic motorcycling inspired apparel and lifestyle items online. We've continued supporting a number of our clients and started some new collaborations. Notably, we've worked with the Australian Superbike Championship in designing and producing their 2020 line of merchandise, which you can find at the store on the ASBK website. We've also enjoyed the opportunity to work with Unitec Racing and former Moto3 and current ASBK competitor Arthur Sisters. They released their merch and online store in June, and you can find it on the Unitec Racing Facebook page. It does feel like we've kicked this latest decade off with a dose of Old Testament style biblical proportions of fire, floods, pestilence and disease. And it's impossible to ignore the pervasive effects that this has had. So we've tried to give a nod to our collective predicaments in a couple of designs aimed at rejoicing in the life-affirming power of motorcycling, even in the darkest of times. You know, as the world scrambles to get a vaccine, I think we should probably get Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne on speed dial. He may just be the key to unlocking antibodies. I mean, that cat was biting the heads off back since back in the day, and it didn't seem to slow him down a whole lot. Anyway, for sure, 2020 hasn't been great, but history has shown that at times of challenge, adversity, times that we could probably call ugly, the uber adaptation machine that is the human race has still managed to find some upside. In 1920, the world was whacked with the Spanish flu, and we had 50 million people die worldwide. In 1957, we had the Asian flu that killed 14,000 people in the UK and 116,000 in the US and 1.1 million people globally. And then in 1981, the party was shut down big time by the HIV AIDS virus. However, what also happened in 1920, for example, was the Indian Scout G20 hit showrooms, ensuring the company's future success and ongoing development, which included the big twin Indian Chiefs. And what also happened in 1957, Harley Davidson, well, they launched the Sportster, a model that went on to become a ubiquitous staple of the famous brand. And in 1981, we had the arrival of the Kawasaki GPZ 1100 and the Honda CB 1100R. The Honda going on to fill all the places in the following year's Castrol 6 Hour, with none other than Wayne Gardner on the top step. So, despite undeniably ugly times in the past, we still had some pretty handy stuff come out of them. Icons like the Scout and Sportster, and the hanging of a powerful exclamation mark on the concept of Big 4 bikes and the UJM. And it's a fair bet that something pretty handy will rise phoenix-like from the current piles of brown stuff that we're momentarily wading through now. And thanks to the ingenuity and resilience of the Bulli Antique Motorcycle Weekend Committee, we were able to still come together albeit together apart in 2020, and continue to celebrate a love of motorcycles. The other thing us humans are good at is a bloody good knees up. We love to celebrate, and I have no doubt that when we're all allowed to congregate back together again, hopefully in 2021, that the Bulli Motorcycle Weekend will be bigger, better and sweeter than ever before. Now, we're at Wakefield not just because it's a great rural location. We have a little bit of news that may be of relevance to many of you. Since restrictions began being lifted in New South Wales, Wakefield Park have been running hugely successful COVID-friendly track days. And from discussions with the operations manager, Dean Chapman, we wanted to let you know there's planning around the potential for running a vintage and classic bike only track day. So, if you've been socially distancing in the confines of your shed, tinkering with your bike, and you want to give it a good run, or you like the idea of running without the spectre of a fireblade closing on your 6 at warp speed, then this is for you. Although it's in its early stages, there is the potential to secure a date in October. However, to make it viable, we'll need 45 vintage and classic bikes and riders. That said, to comply with COVID restrictions, it has to be capped at no more than 90 riders. You'll need your 1 or 2 piece full leathers and riding boots, unless you nominate for the sole or novice group, where just leather jackets, jeans and work or riding boots will suffice. If you have one, bring your MA race licence, however don't sweat it if you don't. You can purchase one there for $35 on the day. If this is something you want, go to the Wakefield website where you can register your interest and keep your eye on the website and Facebook pages for updates. Anyway, have a great 2020 Bulli Motorcycle Weekend. We hope to see you at Bulli in 2021, if not before. Until then, keep it pinned. Cheers.
You took